Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Full Time Wedding Pro podcast. My name is Peyton Helm. I'm the host of the podcast, and I'm here with my dear friend and coaching client, Alex from Love Tribe Weddings. What's up, my man?
What's happening, brother? Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course, dude. I'm so freaking excited. So, whenever I was like thinking about people that I wanted to put on the podcast, you were like one of the number one people that I've
No
listened
way.
to for the past few months. Yeah, because like I feel like we vibe really well.
Yeah,
And you're always consistently on the coaching calls, and like you want to coach yourself, and I love it.
totally.
So, in this episode for everybody listening, this is going to be again on Spotify and Apple Podcast and on YouTube. So if you want to watch this just us chatting. There's not going to be many graphics or anything, but we're just going to be
Yeah,
chatting and having some fun. Pretty much, I want Alex to go. Alex, you're here. I want you to go into like a little bit about like who you are, your story, and then we're going to deep dive onto some. Probably a lot of branding talk, a lot of paid ads talk, because that's like what you love to focus on. Probably some fitness stuff too, because
yeah.
you love talking about
I
that
love
shit.
it.
I do too.
Hell yeah.
So dude, take it away. Just tell me your
Sweet.
story, and I want to know all the stuff that I don't know yet.
Nice. Right on. Well, again, thanks for having me, man. It's really a pleasure. Pleasure. So Alex Richardson of Love Tribe Weddings. Been doing this for a while. Like everyone else, started as a second or assisting, then maybe doing some lead work and stuff. So I did that for a number of years. Um, gosh, I forget the exact date, but probably starting around 2011 or something like that.
Mhm.
And then just kind of figuring out if it's something that I even wanted to do or not. And at the same time, dude, I was hustling. I've always been a hustler. I was bartending, I was waiting tables, I was DJing, I was just doing it all, you know what I'm saying?
You still
Um,
are. You have so many things
I
you do.
still DJ. I still
Yeah.
DJ, yeah. Little Twitch channel. It's fun. It'll never go away. Um, but so yeah, just kind of doing a little bit of everything. And it, I actually went to culinary school, and
Really?
so while I was going there, I was taking photos of the food, and at the end of the I guess the teaching, you'd have to present your food and stuff to the coaches or to the instructors, and so I
Hmm.
was taking photos and stuff, and they really liked the photos, and so they asked me to take some photos of their food and stuff. So photography has always been like such a fun like outlet for me,
Hmm.
and and then I just never thought like, shit, I wonder if I could really make some money out of this.
Hmm.
So, long story short, I lived in downtown Los Angeles in the loft. It's a pretty cool loft called Church and, oh, sorry, the restaurant I started shooting for is called Church and State, and I lived in a loft called Biscuit Company Lofts. And so I was friends with the chef, and some of the staff started doing some photos of them, the restaurant, the food, and all that good stuff. And at the same time, I was still kind of second shooting and stuff.
Hmm.
And then they asked me if I could shoot their wedding because the owners, they were getting married. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so my very first real wedding was a destination wedding,
Oh,
ended up
that's
being
so
in
cool.
Turkey of all places. So
Wow.
flew out to Istanbul and drove south to this beautiful destination and did a wedding for my first time. It was a lot of fun. So then after that, I just became hooked.
Hmm.
I had all the responsibility. I traveled and it was just like, dude, this is amazing. I could travel, I can make money, take photos, hang out with people. And it just kind of sparked a little fire into my butt to pursue it full time. And that's what I
Yeah.
did.
Did you do photo and video for the first, like your turkey wedding, or it was just either
No
or?
way. Just photo. And I
Oh my
half knew what I
gosh.
was doing. I half knew what I was
Yeah.
doing. Yeah. Um, and it's so funny. My style back then was just super like pristine. Everything had to be perfect. Lighting had to be perfect
Hmm.
and off-camera flash. And it's cool because I knew those skills and I still have them today. Every once in a while I use them. But nowadays I'm all about the imperfect imperfections.
Yeah.
And so, I kind of like the mistakes that I do sometimes. It turns out pretty fun. But um, but yeah, man, that's kind of how it started. There's a lot of trial and error.
Hmm.
And a lot of times that I wanted to give up, but I just kept pushing on and just went through it. And dude, honestly, like my first like year or something like that, wife, she was my girlfriend at the time.
Hmm.
she had to take care of the bills. She had to take care of everything because I just stopped working altogether. And I was like, dude, I'm gonna make this happen, you know. And her dad was like, "Are you sure you're gonna be able to do something here and take care of my daughter?" You know, I was like, "Dude,
Yeah.
I got this," you know. So I gave myself like a year, just kick butt, and then business started flowing.
So you went technically full time your first year.
It took me, well, yes, exactly, pretty much. So,
Jesus.
but it took me about a year to really start like making some real money. I
Yeah.
remember my first like real check was like $500 or something like that for
I
someone's wedding.
feel
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The turkey wedding was more of like, yeah, we'll fly you out there, we'll give you a budget, and you know, so
Yeah.
it was more of one of those things. And then, but my first wedding in the US was like think it was like $800 or something like that. And they gave me like a $500 deposit. I was like,
Mhm.
man, I'm making $500 off of this, you know?
That's not bad. Mine
It's
was like
such a trip.
150.
Oh yeah, nice, nice.
Yeah.
But it's fun because we all have those stories, right? We all
Mhm.
start from somewhere. And you know what? Sometimes, dude, I'm down to shoot for free if it's a dope ass, like something that's really going to elevate my brand or
Mhm.
something I really want to be part of. Heck yeah. Because the return on that, the investment of my time, I'll reap the rewards from that because I'm going to attract a certain clientele
Mhm.
if I really believe in that content.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. That's like a almost like a cheat code for
yeah,
people who are established. A lot of
totally.
photographers will do a lot of free work, a lot of free shoots and stuff.
Heck yeah.
I made a podcast episode about that actually, but like, because when I went to Iceland, it was like I paid out of pocket for it, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but like that alone has allowed me to book a lot of weddings and some elopements from it. So, you know,
Right.
like
Exactly.
there's definitely value in shooting for free. So I dig that.
Yeah.
That's super cool. So this is like 2012 area?
2012-ish, 2013 is when I really started to kind of take off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So has this been like your main thing for the last 10 years, essentially?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is
That's
it.
crazy.
I know. I know. Been through it all, seen it all. Oh my gosh. I wish you know, I wish I knew, of course we all say this, but I wish I had the skills that I have now as far as
Hmm.
it goes to like marketing or even style and branding and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, But so, and the crazy thing is that I feel like I know so much. I've been doing this for over 10 years,
Hmm.
but I'm still eager to learn. Learning from you, bro. Like learning from you. It's just like it opened my mind up to so many different things, you know?
Yeah, because I remember when we first
Doesn't
talked,
stop.
you had like a large Instagram following,
Mhm.
and you have like all this beautiful work from like all over the
Yeah.
world. And I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, like this is dope. And then we get on the phone and you're like, yeah, I need to like get paid ads up and stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, really? You're not already crushing it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, it's crazy because my I have children, I have a family,
Hmm.
have a house, have car payments and all that stuff, right? And before all that, we were sitting kind of pretty, you know, we were traveling, doing all the fancy dinners and all that stuff. And then once you get kids though, man, oh my gosh, those expenses just through the roof, you know. So my this time of year, it's a little tough for me because,
Hmm.
of course, I have a savings, but I don't touch it. I don't want to touch it at all, right?
Hmm.
So, um, I'm kind of living off of deposits, and those deposits, if they're not coming in, it's stressful. It's really stressful.
Right.
And my monthly nut is so high
Hmm.
that I have to make a certain amount of money in deposits to be able to survive and provide, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I know that's been a thing that we've tackled a lot on our coaching calls is like just making
yeah,
sure you're crushing it. And I feel
yeah,
like you know that's why I don't know, this is just my outside perspective, but I feel like that's what's pushed you a lot to like show up to the calls, get
yeah.
the ads up, and
Oh,
like
yeah.
take my feedback when everything's are good, not to change it.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And you know, so I'll tell you like prior pandemic, things were flowing beautifully, you know.
Hmm.
So it was a lot of referrals, and I still do get the referrals,
Hmm.
of course. I've built a lot of relationships over the years, and believe it or not, the knot.com has been
Hmm.
very profitable for me over the years. Unfortunately, it dried up.
Yeah.
And so, and I started experiencing this right after the pandemic. Well, actually, I think we all experienced a boom, right, in business,
Hmm.
just right when things started kind of opening up again, and we all were like thinking, "Holy shit, this is amazing."
Yeah.
And then it just slowed down. It was a complete halt. And that's kind of when the knot dried up for me. I was
Hmm.
like, huh, okay, so I'm not getting my usual inquiries from the knot. So I'm not really scaling in that anymore. So I was trying to work with the knot and figuring out, okay, what else could I pay for to get me more exposure? And I felt like it was getting a little out of control. I could not, the money that I was spending on that, I had no control over it, of who was going to see it, who was
Right.
going to come across my brand, on the knot.
Hmm.
And then these amazing relationships I have with planners and other vendors, that's kind of started to dry up too. And so I do check-ins a lot with my planner buddies. I'm
Hmm.
like, what's going on? What's your year like? And always touching base with them. And still yet, where are we? In late January, right? Early February,
Yeah.
almost
Almost
here.
February.
I still don't think I've landed one wedding from one of my contacts
Hmm.
from any of my planner buddies or any other vendor friends
Hmm.
since the end of the summer, pretty much, which is
Yeah.
crazy,
And
because typically it's like, okay, like every month I'll have like inquiries either from the knot or an organic search through Google, or one of my planner hits me up and it's like, hey, you're available for this date or whatever.
mhm.
That stopped like in, I would say, September-ish, somewhere around there, like
Yeah. Which
complete
is like
halt.
right when you got in the program.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's so funny because I feel like I caught it right on time.
Hmm.
And so, I was transparent with you. I was like, dude, my shit's drying up and I need to
Hmm.
figure something out. Meta ads is really confusing to me. And, I feel like I've tried them before. It didn't really work.
Hmm.
And so I jumped on board and it's been a godsend. I'm sure I annoyed you with a bunch of like newbie questions to begin with,
It's okay.
but I get it now. I get it now,
Yeah.
And to me, it's like anybody could run a meta ad,
Hmm.
but it's the strategy that counts. If you don't have that strategy, if you don't have that brand in line with that strategy and the
Hmm.
ad copy, it's all cohesive. If you don't have those things in line, it might not work. It might not work for sure.
Yeah, brand messaging is such a huge
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
And I know that you you sent me the screenshot of my story earlier where I was like announcing the workshop and I was like, oh, looks like the Facebook ads or Meta ads Q&A is gonna win. And you were like, we need to focus on brand messaging. And I'm gonna do that on that workshop for sure. But that's definitely something I wanted to ask you about too on this call.
Yeah.
But let's go back for a second because I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you a question about vendors because you, from my memory, when we first had our sales call for the program,
Yeah.
you told me, I mean, you had a good number of relationships with
Oh, yeah.
wedding vendors and venues that were giving you
Totally.
referrals. Why do you feel like that dried up?
Because they're hurting as well.
Mm,
They're drying up as well. It's just the entire industry, I think. Well, that's what I'm hearing from them.
yeah.
They're having a hard time landing some jobs right now.
Yeah.
You know
I
what's crazy though? Is
what?
one of my vendor buddies, kind of helping him out with some ads. So we're in the middle of working out I guess a campaign and see how it goes. But
Yeah.
so far we're ready to go. I think we're gonna launch this week and see what happens.
Yeah.
But they're
That's like
stoked.
a real ninja thing that we've talked
Yeah.
about in the program is like when you learn
Yeah.
ads, now you can help other vendors with
Yes.
ads and get referrals
Exactly.
that way. Real
Totally.
sneaky. I
Yes.
love it.
But you know
And you're
what?
helping people, you know?
I'm helping people,
Yeah.
and that's what it's all about. If you genuinely want to help people, it comes back full circle
For
for sure.
sure. So, I want to dive into your results real quick from the
Yeah,
program. We don't have to stick here too long.
no worries.
But I wanna, because your story is very similar to a lot of people that I talk to, where they're like, "Oh, I've got referrals. I've been writing off word of mouth, or like even I'm ranked on Google, or I'm posting on Instagram all the time, and it has been working really well. But now, late 2023, now early 2024, it's just dried up. And there's so many people in Facebook groups. I see it every single day. Are you guys getting ghosted?
Exactly.
We're like we're not getting booked. It's just been
Right.
really hard, and this has been a really hard year for a lot of people. But I always like whenever I do have time to comment on those posts, I'll be like, hey, listen, take some accountability here. Yes, the industry right now is pretty cutthroat. Like, yes, the
Yeah.
market is not great. We're in a recession.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
we're not riding off the boom of COVID. However,
Mm.
we all have the ability to fix that if we take control over our brand messaging,
Right.
our sales process, our marketing process. Like we are running a business, each and every one of us, and we're all direct competitors with each other, kind of. So,
Yeah.
if you do what the 99% do, you're going to be like the 99%, which most of them are broke. And you've done
Yeah.
a really, really good job of being part of the 1% that is not broke. And that's not just because of the program. Obviously, the ads and the brand stuff has helped. But you came to me, you already had a pretty decent brand. So
Yeah.
I want to touch on your results from the program real fast. And then I want to break down your expertise and knowledge on your brand because I feel like
Yeah.
branding and copywriting and understanding who you talk to is something you do really, really well, more
Sure.
than a lot of people that I've seen and worked with even.
Okay.
So you cool to talk about that?
Yeah, of course. Let's go.
Sweet. So dive into your first few months of the program up to now and what you've experienced through there.
Yeah, I believe we started either late September, early October, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And so I was just going through modules and kind of learning. It was a little confusing for me at first, but the cool thing was is just having those weekly calls with you in
Hmm.
a group setting, and just taking advantage of that. And the great thing about you is that you're humble, you have no ego, you're there to help anybody with any question. It doesn't matter how newbie of a question it is or how advanced it is.
Hmm.
Um, so it's been pretty helpful in that sense. And then we started running ads, I think, for me with a specific strategy that we thought that would work for me. And I believe that was mid-October is when we
Yeah.
started launching that, when we launched it.
Hmm.
And till now, and it's still going. And since then, I wrote a couple numbers down. It's not 100% accurate, but it's around there. I've spent about $3,500 in ad spend
Hmm.
since like mid-October or somewhere around there. Sounds like a lot, right?
Yeah.
Um, but
A lot of people
then,
would see that and be like, oh my God, that's
oh my
so much
gosh,
money that
right?
I've
Right.
spent.
Yeah. But dude, I mean, I've made about $70,000 in sales since then. So that's
Mhm.
about 20-fold if
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
doing the math right.
I think that math works out. I'm going to do that right now. So
Yeah.
where it's accurate because I love tracking this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly 20, like
So
on the dot,
it's so crazy. So what does that mean? So if I give you $1, you give me $20, somewhere around there?
basically. Or more accurately, you give Facebook $20 and they give you 20 back.
Yeah.
Or $1 and they give you 20 back.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. And so it's come to a point where it's like, well, dang, do I scale? What happens if I give 1,000, another my budget is a certain amount. What if I double that budget? What would happen?
Hmm.
You know? But it just depends on what your goal is if you want to scale like that.
Hmm.
So it's so interesting seeing an ad that's performed like that. You have so many options,
Hmm.
of what to do. So it's been tremendous. And again, I need to get to a certain amount of money where I could continue to feed my family and stuff. So
Yeah.
when I say 70,000 in sales, that's for the year. I asked for
Hmm.
50% up front. So, that's about 35,000,
Cash
since
collected.
then,
Yeah. Upfront.
actual cash flow in my bank account.
Yeah.
And so for a lot of people, that's like, damn, that's my whole year's salary or something.
Hmm.
Um, but I cannot wait for my weddings to start up in kind of like April-ish, because that's when
Hmm.
I'm really I'll be getting those fulfillment payments and then also some other deposits at the same time.
Yeah. Where are you wanting to go price or not price wise, but income wise for weddings this year specifically, if you're cool with
For
sharing that?
weddings, oh my gosh. Well, I'm on track. I'm on track to be usually where I'm at. So that's
Hmm.
about 250,000 in sales
Yeah.
for per year. If I could get if I could get to 300 just in weddings, that'd be cool. That'd be
Yeah.
cool. But shooting a lot less weddings.
For sure. Yeah. Are
Yeah,
you planning on just doing those all yourself or do you want to like bring on associates?
just myself. I don't think I want to deal with associates. I'll
I
do
feel
some
you.
associates every
Yeah,
once in a while, but
I feel you.
it's kind of a pain in the butt, you know.
Agreed. Although me shooting that Korea wedding for you would have been pretty dope.
Yeah,
Kind of
yes.
sad that didn't work out.
I know, it sucks. But it's interesting because if I did want to scale, I feel like I could hit, seven figures in sales easily if I wanted to scale and
Mhm.
hire a crew and hire, have a full-on studio. I could
Yeah.
definitely hit those numbers. Anybody could do it.
Yeah. I mean, and that's why I love teaching paid advertising is because
Yeah.
you're not relying on other people. Sorry if you just heard my dog whine. She's going crazy right now.
It's all
It's
good.
like you're not relying on other people. You're literally like you have a set cost per acquisition down right now. I don't know
Yeah.
what that is specifically for you, but I know that you have a 20x return on ad spend right now. So
Mhm.
like, whatever 300K divided by 20 is, that's how much you need to spend in ad
Yeah.
spend at the end of the
Yeah.
year. And then you just divide that
Mm.
out by months and you know how
Mhm.
much money you need to spend in ads per month. You've already got a
Yeah.
system down and you know it's going to be consistent because it's been
Sure.
consistent, extremely consistent for the past four
Yeah.
months.
Totally. Totally.
And that's why
Off
I
of
love
one
it.
hand. Yeah. Off
Yeah.
of one hand. I mean,
Crazy.
it's pretty wild. So yeah, I'm stoked, man. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And
But
of course, it just opens, I don't know, for me, it just opens the mind to other things,
mhm,
But that's how I've always thought in life, anyways. If one door opens, what's that other door behind it? And what's that next door behind that?
mhm. Yeah, and that's
So
why like you ventured now into coaching because you're just
yeah,
like, ooh,
yeah.
what's next?
I know, right? It's so crazy. Well, it's been on my mind for years,
Mhm,
specifically for hybrid shooting, because that's typically how I document my weddings. And people thought I was crazy doing it, but I've developed a way to do it, and I've taught a couple people and gotten some good feedback from them. Um, so I've been teaching a little bit one-on-one mentoring,
mhm.
but now I'm pretty much going to do a full-scale system here for some people.
Yeah,
And
I'm
yeah,
excited to see that. So I think you
yeah,
will
me
absolutely crush
too.
it.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Hopefully, fingers
Yeah.
crossed. Yeah.
Okay, so I have some questions for you.
Okay.
You do really well, and for anybody listening, I mentioned it earlier. Alex's brand is Love Tribe Weddings. Please do not spam his website or social media, but if you want to look at it, you can look at it. But I feel like you do really, really well on the brand side and knowing how to speak to your ideal client. So if somebody's struggling with that right now, could you give, and we can chat about this back and forth too, some feedback on maybe how to identify who they want to work with and how to speak to those people through your branding.
Yeah, man. Well, I think obviously everybody's different and there's different approaches to figuring out who you want to attract.
Hmm.
I would start looking at your own lifestyle. What do you like? What do you like to do? Are you into fitness? Do you like nice things? Do you like going on walks out in nature? Do you enjoy time with family, with pets, whatever? Figure out what you like. And then from there, try to find those similar people that you would resonate with or have a similar style to you.
Hmm.
And then start building your brand around that. And naturally, it's going to attract that type of clientele. So if you're a big outdoorsy person on the weekends, you love to go to the lake with your dog and stuff like that, right? So you're
Hmm.
probably more of an adventurous type of person, and your brand should speak that. Since you know that to the core and you live it, then that's what's going to be best for you as far as a brand, I think. Would it make sense if you're this outdoorsy person and you're trying to attract a client that I don't know, loves driving Porsches on the raceway on the weekday, on the weekend or something,
Yeah.
right? So you might want to track somebody that's, hey, maybe going out for a jog through the high Sierras or going through Yosemite for the weekend or something like that.
Hmm.
So figuring out what's most important, what you like in yourself, and then trying to track those people. And so building your brand around that is great. So with your website, trying to figure out your colors for that, are they earthy if you're an adventurous type, or are they bright with a lot of cursive and stuff? If that's it, you got to change that, make it a little more fun. I forget the name of this one photographer, an elopement photographer. Oh my gosh. she's brilliant. She's amazing. I think it starts with McAfee or something like that. I forget. But her brand is amazing, and she looks the part, and she
Hmm.
attracts these type of people. And so then ad copy is huge too, speaking to these people. And so right when someone comes to your website, they want to know exactly that you're serving that type of person, right? And so
Hmm.
having that brand message there, there's ways to do it. Will have people stay on your page, and then just using your front page, your home page as a map to other things is really key. And the cool thing is, this is kind of how meta ads works. So once you start having your copy or thinking about your copy for meta ads, speaking to that ideal client, then they'll receive your message on that end. And when they come to your website, it's all consistent, cohesive, and they're going to reach out to you.
Yep.
Is this did I hit it right? Is that what you meant kind of?
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean,
can
you
keep going.
explained it perfectly. And I assume this is
Okay.
the same thing you did when you went to
Yeah,
figure out, like, over the last 10 years, okay, this is
totally.
exactly who I want to go for.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it started, like I said, it's like, what do I like?
Hmm.
What's my lifestyle like? And so that's who I want to work with. So I never have things like bridezillas or anything like that because I already speak the language of my clients, and we
Yep.
get along so well. And so there's never any problems, never any problems.
Yep. That is
Pretty
the
lucky.
that's the biggest mistake I see people make when they
Mhm.
get in the coaching program is like they'll skip through the branding part because they're like, "Oh, my brand's fine. I don't need this stuff." And
Yeah,
then they'll jump straight to paid
right.
ads. And
And
then
I've
they're
been
like,
guilty. I'm guilty of that. Yeah,
right. And
for
then
sure.
they're like, oh, I'm not getting results. And I'm like,
Yeah,
well, yeah, because your website literally just says you're a wedding photographer or wedding
yeah,
filmmaker, and you're not niching down. You're not actually speaking to anybody. So yeah, of
totally.
course, when you put an ad up that's just speaking to everyone, you're going to get people who have a budget of $500, and you're going to scare away the people who have a budget of 10,000. You know what I mean?
Yep,
So,
exactly.
and like,
So
go ahead.
well, I was going to say life hack on all that too. It could seem daunting when you're thinking about rebranding and stuff, right? I'm
Hmm.
not a branding expert, but I know some things about branding, right? So I outsourced.
Hmm.
Found a pro, and that's what they do. But I found a branding expert that I align with, that I like. I like their aesthetics and what they're doing.
Hmm.
So, so it was an easy transition for me. And they suggested some things, and so we went with it, and it's been amazing. It's been amazing. So life hack, hire out. It seems cool to go onto Squarespace or show it, buy your own template, and then you do it. Dude, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to waste a lot of time, a
Yeah.
lot of money. Might as well hire someone to do it for you if you really don't know what you're doing, and then get the results faster. You
Hmm.
know, so
Yeah. Or hire a coach that'll teach you how to do it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Always
I dig
learn.
that, man.
Yeah.
Solid. I love that. And everything that you just said is like that's the core of really making any kind of marketing work, whether it's social media or Google presence, even on the knot, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you have to know who you're talking to, who you want to work with, and then how to speak to them, how to emotionally connect with them and get them to a point where like they have a positive association in their minds to your brand, in relation to getting their photography or their wedding film. And if they make that positive association and it's strong enough, that is what encourages them to fill out the inquiry form and ultimately book with you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, man, I love it. Are
Yeah.
you because I know I want to talk about price too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you
For
cool
sure.
with sharing that? Like
Of
what
course.
what
Yeah.
you charge, how you kind of came to that, and how you've increased
Yes.
over time?
Yeah, yeah. So of course, everyone, you start at $1,000 or something like that, right? But it's
Yeah.
taken me a long time to get to where I'm at. And so I feel like I was not stuck, but I was definitely serving like the $3,000 to $5,000 range clients. And it was a lot of work. So it was 40 weddings or so a year, 40 to 60 weddings a year,
Yeah.
and just kicking butt. And that's when a knot was really kicking butt for me as well. But then over time, prices rise in life in general, so you kind of have to go up 10% or something like that every single year. Um, So right now I'm at 7,000, and then just kind of go from there. So I feel that I serve the upper middle markets. I'm not in luxury.
Hmm.
And I don't know if I want to be in that ultra lux. Maybe every once in a while. It's a different beast. I've done a few, and it's just different. It's just different. Kind of like where I'm at. Um, but the cool thing is, since I also offer video, I could kind of double that, and get up to the 14, $15,000 range
Hmm.
pretty consistently. And then depending on certain packages, it could scale up to about 20. So it just kind of depends. So my rates are anywhere from like 7 to about 20 right now.
Hmm.
Hopefully soon, I'm gonna raise them again.
How much are you
And
gonna go to?
I'm gonna go to 9, starting at 9.
I like
Yeah.
that.
And it's so wild because I feel like so many people that don't have much experience are already starting at 7. It's like 7,000 is like the new 3,500 or
Yeah.
$4,200 starting rate.
Hmm.
So I don't know if I'm selling myself short or it's something I got to figure out in this next year if I should raise that rate again and start at the $9,000 range. Um, I could tell you, of course, yeah, I'm worth it because I give a really great client experience and all that stuff. But there is a big responsibility once you start getting into those higher rates. You
Hmm.
do have to nurture a lot. I feel. Um, but then there's less weddings. I personally like nurturing, so I like being there for my clients. So it shouldn't be a problem for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that, dude.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who is lower priced, maybe like sub 5,000, and they're scared to bridge that gap and go up to like 7 or 9?
Yes. To do that, I would highly recommend that your brand is on point to be able to do that.
Mhm.
Because if your brand is the same and it's working for you and you are getting that type of client or within that range, then you make that jump. You might lose some sales, lose some opportunity, unless you elevate that brand at the same time. So if you're going to elevate your price tag, why aren't you elevating your brand? You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It ties in together. It's got to be, price goes up. Well, my brand's got to go up. I would almost feel like your brand's got to be a little higher than your starting rate, which I'm trying to work on myself, to be honest. Um, but so yeah, if you want to make that leap, just look at your brand, make sure that you're pretty decent, and start working on ways to improve that so you could start looking at those higher rates for sure to make that jump. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that. And I think it's really interesting that you mentioned elevating the brand, which is the messaging, the identification, your
Yeah.
positioning, but you
Yeah.
didn't mention photo or video quality.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's true. I didn't go to that. I get it. Well, dude, everybody that shoots a wedding knows how to shoot a wedding pretty
Yep.
much. You know, Like I could give you a camera and tell you, hey, can you shoot my wedding for me because I'm sick today or whatever. I'm
Hmm.
sure you get some amazing shots, or anybody else, even if someone's just kind of getting started, to be honest, they're if they have like a year or two in,
Hmm.
I feel like they could pretty much handle the wedding. But yeah, I think branding is a good way of just kind of jumping into those higher ticket sales, I guess. And then your style changes over time, the editing changes over time and stuff. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean that's absolutely solid, and I agree because like I get a lot of people who are like, "Oh, I feel like I'm not ready to charge more," or
Mhm.
like I feel like my photos or my videos aren't as good, and I'm like, it doesn't matter,
Yeah,
because like
yeah,
we're all pretty good, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
there's
exactly.
some people who are freaking amazing, like you got like
Yes.
Jose Villa and like Ray Roman, like
Oh
those
yeah.
people who are just like
Yeah.
out, you fucking
Next
outstanding,
level.
but most of us are all kind of, we're all kind of pretty good. So,
Yeah.
when you're a couple and you're looking at these millions of photographers and filmmakers, you're like, okay, like how do I differentiate between these people? How do I find one? And really it just kind of boils down to connecting with somebody who is going to speak to you, emotionally connect with
Yes.
you, be authentic to you,
Yeah.
and you just vibe with their personality, and then they have a
Oh,
good offer. You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
that's essentially just kind of branding in general. Um,
Branding,
but
ideal
I know
client.
when I was a lot lower priced several years ago, like I was, 3,000, 4,000, five
Yeah.
thousand, and I was like, there's no way I could scale past that.
Yeah.
And I had paid ads down, so I was like, I'm getting lead flow. I'm fairly booked. I might as well try it. And then I put my starting rate. This is when I was still offering like, a wide span of collections instead of just one offer. I put it at 5,000 and immediately just completely switched the type of inquiries I was getting.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
within like just a couple months of that, I booked my first 10K wedding. And I was like, this is crazy. So
Mm.
like I'll ask you something because I know how to answer this, but I want to hear your advice on this.
Sure.
For people who are in that lower price range, maybe they're like scouring Facebook groups and they're like, oh my gosh, 2023, 2024, it's been so slow.
Yeah.
I don't know how to attract these people. I don't know. I don't believe that there's anybody out there that can pay what I want to charge.
Mm.
Um, and I feel like I don't deserve, or maybe I can't even get booked at that price point.
Mm.
What would you say to those people
Oh
to
my
give them
gosh.
encouragement?
I've been there. I've been there and I totally understand. And I still go through those same, I still have that voice in the back of my head, you know?
Hmm.
Still, even at the higher levels, I'm not even at the higher levels, you know what I'm saying? There's ultra high levels. I have friends that start at 20K, will
Yeah.
not step foot at your wedding unless their minimum is met at 20K,
Hmm.
and sometimes I hear them and they're discouraged about things too. So that's never going to go away. So I think you just got to get over it straight up. And just trust and have faith that if you continue to be consistent, show up every single day, work on your branding. Hey, if you feel that your skills with photography are not up to par, dude, just keep practicing. Just keep practicing. Styled shoots are amazing.
Yeah.
Invest a little bit in styled shoots if you feel like you really want to elevate a little more. So just keeps consistent. We all have that same voice. And if you're disciplined, it's all just going to line up. It's all going to line up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
I
have to
agree.
say about
I love that, dude. That I feel like it's
that.
an amazing answer.
Yeah.
And like I would agree with everything, and I would add to, you know, if you're feeling like there's just not people who are willing to pay higher prices, or like if you change up your marketing, like you can't attract these people, change your point of reference. I see a lot of people, and I'm sure you see it too. We'll have like we're in wedding Facebook groups, and people are like, I'm searching for a photographer and a filmmaker, and I only have $1,000 budget for both.
Yes.
And then there's like
Right.
100 comments on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
then
crazy.
people post like, oh, every single couple is price shopping, but in reality, they're not. Just
Yeah.
where you're looking, that's where they
Yes.
hang out.
That's true.
If
Okay.
if you don't want to go after people, if you don't want to go after Walmart shoppers, then don't look in Walmart.
Yeah. Don't look in the knot, pretty much.
Right, exactly. Yeah, the not Facebook groups, like get out
Yeah.
of those circles and get
Yes.
into places where these people who have higher budgets and want to hire a creative who
Yeah.
knows their worth and is
Hmm.
confident enough to sell it, go where they are. And that's higher
Yeah.
end bridal shows, it's running advertising and speaking
Yep.
to them, ranking on Google,
Exactly.
getting in with vendors and venues. Like all of that stuff is so,
Yeah.
so important. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And a good way to get into vendors, a lot of planners are the ones that put on styled shoots throughout the year.
yep.
I mean, it might be $4,000. I've seen some great ones for about 1,800 bucks.
Yeah.
Spend
Same.
that money, dude. Spend that money. Go shoot your $1,000 wedding that everyone's trying to like, fight over. Get that cash, invest it into a styled shoot. It'll elevate your brand. And you're making a relationship with that planner. They're going to remember you because you help them, you supported them with their vision and what they're creating for you. So you'll start a relationship in that sense as well.
Yeah.
So
Is that how you formed most of your relationships with vendors, or has it just been like working with them and doing all that?
a little bit of everything from not knowing a vendor at all whatsoever, showing up on the wedding day and just being friendly and just saying, hey, could I take some extra photos for you, and I could send you a separate folder with photos just for your brand. things from that to yeah, I mean, hitting some planners up, hey, I have this concept, I would love to include you in this if you have time, maybe in the winter time when it's a little slower or something.
Hmm.
I'll fund it, I'll pay for it. Would just love to have you on board in your vision. Um, so there's so many different ways that I do it and connect with people. I have done some styled shoots. One person in particular, I've done I've done three of them with this particular person, and she's amazing. We have a really great relationship, and she's a high-end planner, which is great. I just started a new relationship with another one that's coming up soon, which I'm going to do in May
Hmm.
in Florida. So that should be cool.
What part?
It is in Miami. It's actually a place
Ooh.
called Vizcaya.
Oh
Vizcaya.
wait, I think you sent it to me actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, so it's always, finding ways to bring a little value for someone that you want to make a relationship with. It could be as simple as, can I take your headshots today? Or just sending them an email like a week before the wedding. Do you need
Hmm.
some new headshots? I'm happy to take a couple minutes. We can do some quick photos and I'll send them to you.
Hmm.
To investing in someone's vision, their program, and getting the value out of that as well. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I think it's really understated how important personality matches are in forming those relationships.
Yeah, for
'Cause at
sure.
least in my experience, which I know vendor referrals is not something that I am necessarily super qualified to speak on because it's definitely a supplemental strategy for me and not a
Sure.
main.
Yeah.
So, for me at least, like I would shoot weddings and I just become incredibly great friends with a planner or a florist or the venue
Hmm.
management or owners. And that's how I've ultimately formed a lot of my relationships.
That's great.
So,
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, highly encouraged, Um, and then also just kind of circling back to having control of your market. I'd say, taking a chance with something like ads, like meta ads,
mhm.
it's gonna make a difference. You won't be one of those people on the Facebook groups saying it's slow, it's dry. And also depending on what type of strategy that you're gonna go. Like if you need, there's a few different strategies, but I just feel like if you're the type of person who's like, shit, I need some leads like right now, there's a strategy for that. You'll start getting leads like right away. You
Yeah,
just have to have a few things dialed in, but you'll start getting leads right away, which is pretty amazing. You have control over that, which is
yeah,
neat, with meta ads. And that's
exactly.
where your expertise comes in. So it's cool because I could just literally ask you a question, through our messaging platform that you have for your students.
Yeah. I'm curious on this. So I want to ask you this. What things about just paid advertising in general did maybe going through the program like change your mind about, or maybe some misconceptions you had about paid advertising that like you overcame, or just things you learned in general about paid ads going through it?
Um, Firstly, I always just felt it was very confusing. Like going
Mhm.
to the back end of it was always really confusing.
That's fair.
I'm a busy person, so I didn't have time to invest into trying to figure it out on my own.
Mhm.
So hiring the right coach is amazing for that, and I of course, highly recommend you to
Nice.
everybody, to anybody. Um, and not, dude, and it again, it opens doors, not just for wedding photography. If you have other things going on or that you're working on, this shit'll work for that too, you know? But so I think the misconceptions are it's too confusing. I don't have time to learn that. Well, if you don't have time to learn that on your own, hire a coach. Okay, there's the answer to that. If if you feel that it's too confusing, it's been confusing for your coach too at the beginning. You can learn it. Discipline yourself and you'll do it. You'll do it and you'll learn and you'll have control in your hands for sure. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, I totally agree.
yeah.
It was definitely very confusing for me
Yeah.
starting out.
Yes,
And
exactly.
even sometimes now, like I'll get questions in the program of people who are having weird issues, and I'm like, okay, I
Mm.
don't know.
Yeah, oh
Like
yeah,
this
yeah.
is, yeah.
But it's
So
cool. You'll find a solution eventually for us if
yeah,
need be. If need be.
yeah,
I guess one more misconception is the ad spend.
yeah.
People hear that, oh man, it's such a waste of money. You spend like thousands of dollars a month. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars a month.
Hmm.
You could literally spend a few hundred a month just to see, or not even that, just to see where you're at. And you can
Yeah,
scale from there. One booking could change it all for you, though. One booking, and you'll have more ad spend, and you could scale from there. Yeah.
yeah. I totally agree. I love that. And just, like overall, with that said, like don't be afraid to spend money either. Cause there's
Sure.
a lot of people who promise like, oh, you'll get 5 weddings booked a month at $10 a day and spend. But like it does take money to even with
Yeah.
you, like you're at, 20x ROI, but you
Yeah.
wouldn't have booked 70K in weddings in 4 months if you hadn't spent
I wouldn't have.
$3,500.
Yeah. I don't know what I would have done. Holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So
um,
crazy.
I know we don't have much time left, but I want to switch gears a little bit because I know with you specifically, you like to kind of focus on destination weddings within
Mhm.
the US. I know you
Yeah.
obviously you're open to international, but
Yeah.
I know you travel a lot in the US. You don't just stick to Texas. So
Correct.
how did you, which I know you said your first wedding was in Turkey, so maybe this is a little bit unique to you, but how did you break into kind of specializing in travel
Yeah.
and what advice would you give to somebody who wants to break past their local market?
Okay. Well, so I'm from California originally, so that's where I served
Yeah.
to start with. And so I had that market. For me, and you could think of this as running ads, right? So for me, I started opening up markets from the knot in New York and Miami.
Okay.
And so I did start getting leads from that. So I guess the lesson there is wherever you target and put money into, you will start to get inquiries for that location.
Hmm.
And if you do want to start working in those locations and you don't have shit to show, you don't have a portfolio, right? Unfortunately, if you really want to do it, you might have to sell it at a discount. Okay.
Yeah.
But now that discounted rate is going to bring you more leads eventually from that market that you do want to serve. So investing in the places that you do want to market or work in, it could either be through organic SEO, paid ads is what I recommend, and don't start talking about like where you live. Okay, so a little hack, like
Yes.
if I live, okay, so I live in Texas, right? If somebody hits me up about New York, then I don't tell them, hey, right away, I live in Texas. There's going to be travel fees. So whatever my rate is, just add on. No, just have a simple conversation with them. If they ask, cool. But when you give them a price point, just make sure you have enough buffer in there for your travel expenses.
Yeah.
I always say about $1,000 to $1,500 on your end. And so if you don't mention that, it's just all inclusive, then that's it. Um, so traveling's fun. It's hard to do if you have a family, which is why I just do the US mainly. And eventually, once you start to market and work in these other areas, maybe you could start to mention that on your website. So when you go to my website, it shows right away, like California, uh, Austin, Texas, Miami, and New York, because these are the places I serve. So when people come to my website from someone from New York, they're like, "Oh, cool, they're in New York."
Yeah.
And wherever the conversation leads to, I'm transparent. Hey, I live in Texas, but I'm always out there anyway. I do have family in New York. I have family in California, so it's kind of helpful. But that's what I would suggest is just put your money into where you want to work at, and just start to go about it that way. That's a good start, I would say.
Sweet, dude. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you also
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
jumping on. Do you have any final thoughts or any advice?
Yeah. Man, it's a hard year for most, for a lot of people. Just keep your head up, keep going, figure out side hustles if you can, be scrappy, be disciplined, get strong in your mind, get strong in your body, and everything else should start to fall in place for you.
Sweet. I totally agree. I love
Yeah.
that. All right, man. Do you want to plug anything?
No, not necessarily. I mean, Love Tribe Weddings at Love Tribe Weddings on the socials if you want to say hi, that's about it. I don't spend too much time on social, thanks to Meta ads, thanks to you. So cool.
All right, man. All right, guys.
All
Thank
right,
you so
brother.
much. This was Alex from Love Tribe Weddings.
Yes.
If you guys enjoyed it, please leave me a rating and review and subscribe if you liked it. And please go check out Alex. He's amazing. His photos are incredible and his brand is on point. All right, brother.
Yeah,
Thank you
thanks,
for
man.
jumping
I
on with
appreciate
me.
it. Thank you.